Hey everyone, ready to unlock some serious potential?
I'm game.
Today we're diving deep into a classic, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
A classic for a reason, right?
Absolutely. But we're not just summarizing, oh no, we're about to extract those golden nuggets.
Yeah, get right to the good stuff.
Exactly, those aha moments that'll make you see things differently. And for anyone thinking, is this just about money? Trust me, it's way bigger.
It's about achieving any goal you set your mind to.
It's like a master key Hill gives you.
And what's interesting is he didn't just preach this stuff, he lived it.
Oh, I know, right? Like that story he tells about this beat-up old kettle. Wild.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Gotta keep you hooked.
But first, we've got to talk about desire.
Burning desire. That's what Hills calls it. And he would know. Andrew Carnegie, the steel tycoon. He's the one who commissioned Hill to spend decades studying success.
Decades. Wow, talk about dedication.
Hill was all about it. Observed countless successful people.
And he saw that burning desire, not just, oh, it would be nice to, but that can't eat, can't sleep, gotta have it kind of desire. That was the spark.
The catalyst for everything, yeah.
Exactly. And the best example has to be Edwin Barnes.
Oh, Barnes. Now there was a man with a plan.
This guy was dead set on working with Thomas Edison.
Not for him, mind you, with him.
Imagine that, rocking up to Edison's lab, practically nothing to his name.
But with so much determination, he convinces Edison to partner up.
Now that's what I call gumption.
That's burning desire in action, my friend.
So it's not enough to kind of want something.
No, sir.
We have to cultivate that intense, almost obsessive desire to make it happen.
You have to become obsessed with achieving it.
Right. Hill actually connects this burning desire to, you're not going to believe this, the sixth sense.
We'll unpack that later.
Yeah, we've got a lot to cover today, but for now,
Think of it as that gut feeling, that deep inner knowing that propels you toward your goal.
okay, so we've got the fire in our belly. What's next?
Faith.
Faith. Okay, gotta admit, that word always makes me think, blind leaps and all that.
See, this is where Hill is sneaky brilliant.
Oh, how so?
He's not talking about religion, but about self-belief.
Yeah.
It's like you've got to have faith in yourself.
But even before the results show up, right?
Exactly. It's like setting your internal GPS to success. Got to believe you'll get there, or you won't even start the car.
Yeah. And he actually gives a formula for this.
He does. It's called the self-confidence formula.
We should put that in the show notes for everyone.
Definitely.
But one story that really brings this home for me is the one about Hill's son, Blair.
Ah, yes, Blair, born deaf.
Back then, folks would have thought, that's it, nothing you can do.
But not Hill. Oh no, he refused to accept it.
And get this, he basically hammered into Blair's mind, you will hear, you will speak.
And what happened?
Blair did. He heard, he spoke. Just goes to show the power of auto-suggestion, or how I like to call it, the tell yourself until you believe it method.
Because what you constantly feed your mind, it starts to accept as reality. Powerful stuff.
Super powerful, and you know what else is powerful?
What's that?
Knowing your stuff, and I don't mean just going to some fancy school.
Yeah, Hill was not a fan of that.
Specialized knowledge, that's where it's at.
Absolutely. He'd always say, knowledge is only powerful if you know how to use it.
Yeah, like that story about Henry Ford. I mean, the guy revolutionized the car industry.
A visionary.
Totally. But then he gets dragged into court and they call him what? Ignorant?
Can you believe that?
All because he didn't go to some Ivy League school.
Oh. But Ford, being Ford, he turns the whole thing around.
Oh, I love this story.
He starts quizzing these guys, right? On super specific details.
Showing them that general knowledge is meaningless if you can't apply it.
Boom. Mic drop.
So it's not about having a head full of facts, but becoming a master of your craft.
Constantly learning, adapting, surrounding yourself with other experts.
Oh, speaking of, remember that mastermind principle?
We'll dive into that more a bit later.
Definitely. So much good stuff to cover.
But for now.
You know what really gets those gears turning?
That's that.
Imagination.
Ah, yes. And Hill was all about it.
In a very specific way, though, right?
And we talked about two types of imagination, remember?
Oh, right. Remind me.
Synthetic and creative.
Synthetic. Now, that one rings a bell, but creative, tell me more.
Synthetic is like remixing a song you already know, taking existing ideas and combining them in new ways.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. Like taking what's already out there and, what, giving it a new spin?
Precisely. Now, creative imagination, that's like composing a whole new symphony from scratch.
Tapping into a deeper well, so to speak.
Exactly.
And to really drive this point home, he tells that wild story about the enchanted kettle. Like, wow.
Oh, that story's fantastic.
Yeah.
See, there was this old country doctor, right?
Okay, I'm picturing him now.
He's deep in debt, but
There's always a but?
he's got this secret recipe for a delicious drink.
Okay, now we're talking. I do love a good drink.
And get this, he sells this recipe, along with this beat-up old kettle and a wooden paddle, to a young drug clerk for a small fortune.
Wait, people were lining up to buy a used kettle.
You see, the drink itself wasn't magical, but the idea behind it was. The young clerk, he had vision. He took that recipe, some clever marketing, and boom, he turned that simple drink into a health tonic, made him incredibly wealthy.
Wow. Talk about turning water into wine. Or, I guess, kettle water into gold.
It just goes to show you, sometimes the most out there ideas, the ones that make you go, huh, they're the ones with the most potential.
It's about looking beyond the obvious, about questioning what everyone else takes for granted.
And then having the courage to act on those crazy ideas.
That's the key right there.
Hmm.
Because we can have all the great ideas in the world, but if we don't do anything about them...
They're just that, ideas.
All right, so I'm feeling inspired here, pumped even, but also maybe a little overwhelmed. I mean, where do we even start with all this?
Well, Hill was a big believer in organized planning.
So no more just saying, oh, I'll get to it someday.
Someday is not a day of the week, my friend. He said, dreams without goals are just dreams. You've got to have a plan.
So once you've got that burning desire, that faith in yourself, time to create a roadmap.
Exactly. And you don't have to go it alone either. Remember that mastermind we were talking about?
Oh, yeah, our team of superheroes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with people who challenge you, support you, hold you accountable.
Like having a personal board of directors for your life. All right, so we've got our mastermind assembled. Plans are laid out. We're ready to conquer the world.
Hold your horses there, partner.
What? What did I miss?
Life, my friend, life happens.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Curveballs, setbacks, doubts.
Exactly. And that's where Hill's principle of decision comes in.
Decision, huh? So we've got to be all decisive and what, just bulldoze through those obstacles?
Not quite. See, Hill says the root of most fear, the thing that really trips us up, is indecision. It's like standing at a crossroads, scared to pick a path, so you just freeze.
Okay, yeah, I've been there. Analysis paralysis, it's a thing.
It is. And Hill,
Okay.
he lists out these 6 common fears, right? Poverty, criticism, ill health, the usual suspect.
Yeah, this will get you every time.
But he says the real culprit lurking behind them is often indecision.
I never thought of it like that.
It's sneaky, right?
Totally. But think about it, though. The moment you make a decision, even if it's a little scary, there's that feeling of relief.
Like a weight off your shoulders.
Exactly. You've chosen a direction. You're moving forward.
And nothing can stop a moving train except
Except when it runs out of steam.
or hits a wall. But even then, there's persistence.
Yes. Persistence. It's like Hill's personal mantra.
You know that story he tells about Darby?
Darby. Refresh my memory.
This guy, he was obsessed with finding gold. Years, I'm talking years, of back-breaking work, digging, searching. Finally, he strikes gold. Rich! But guess what?
What? Don't tell me he blew it all on silly hats and a solid gold house.
Even worse, he stopped digging.
He stopped. Why? What was the point of all that digging if you're just going to stop?
3 feet. That's all that separated him.
3 feet from what? More gold.
A huge GE vein of it. Can you believe it? 3 feet from the motherlode.
Oh, Darby. No, that's just heartbreaking. Talk about quitting right before the finish line.
Wouldn't you know it, another guy comes along, buys the mine from Darby, keeps digging, boom, becomes incredibly wealthy. It's a reminder, quitting, even when you're exhausted, when you think you've hit your limit, it can cost you big time.
Wow, that's rough, poor Darby.
So we got to be like those marathon runners, right? Hit that wall and just keep on going. Because sometimes the biggest rewards, they're just on the other side of our perceived limitations.
I love that. It's like our minds will tell us we're done, but our spirits, they know better.
And, we talk about Hill dedicating his life to studying success.
Oh, yeah, the guy was committed.
He didn't just observe others. He put these principles to the test in his own life.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at what he did with Blair. That took some serious faith and persistence.
Absolutely. But he faced challenges, too, his own set.
Really? Hill, Mr. Think and Grow Rich, had struggles.
He was human, just like us. Financial ups and downs, setbacks in his career, you name it, he dealt with it.
But he never gave up on his vision.
Not a chance. It's like he internalized that Think and Grow Rich mindset.
And used it as fuel to overcome all those obstacles.
Exactly. So for our listeners out there, think of it this way. You've got this secret weapon now. this blueprint for success. And it's been tried and tested, not just by some guy in an ivory tower, but in the real world with real challenges.
Talk about empowering. It's like if Hill could do it, we can too.
Now you're getting it. And speaking of empowering, can we circle back to that mastermind principle for a sec?
Oh yeah, our team of awesome.
It's so much more than just networking.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It's about being intentional, right? With who you surround yourself with.
100%.
I mean, we all know those energy vampires just suck the life out of you.
The mastermind is the opposite. It's about finding those people who uplift you, inspire you, challenge you to grow.
Like iron sharpens iron.
That's a good one.
Because think about it. If you're surrounded by negativity, doubt, all those limiting beliefs,
Toxic.
it's an uphill battle all the way to achieve your goals. But if you're surrounded by possibility thinkers, by people who believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself.
It's like having a tailwind pushing you forward.
It's like that quote, I love this one, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Truth.
And with a mastermind, you're choosing, on purpose, to be around those who elevate you, who help you become the best, most awesome version of yourself.
I love that. And you know who really understood this? Henry Ford.
Ford. Oh, yeah, we were talking about him earlier, Mr. Innovation.
Right. Well, he was part of a pretty incredible mastermind group.
Wait, really? Like a secret society of genius inventors? Tell me more.
Okay, picture this. You've got Henry Ford, right?
Okay, got him.
Thomas Edison, the light bulb dude.
Okay, this is getting good.
Harvey Firestone, the tire magnate.
My mind is blown. And
Luther Burbank,
who?
only the most renowned botanist of their time.
They were all friends.
They were tight, these guys. They'd go on camping trips together.
Camping trips with Edison. I bet that was lit. Literally.
They'd brainstorm ideas, challenge each other's thinking.
Talk about an intellectual power squad. They probably had to invent a whole new tent just to contain all that genius.
Right. And it's clear that Ford's success, it wasn't just about him being a genius, right? It was being part of this group. It amplified his thinking, broadened his perspective.
He was able to achieve what he probably couldn't have done alone, all because he had his crew.
It shows the power of collaboration, synergy, finding your tribe of people who get you fired up. Makes me want to go out and find my mastermind crew right now.
Me too. All right, so we've got our desire, our faith, our killer game plan. We're surrounded by our supportive geniuses, ready to persist through anything.
What else is there?
Well, remember that whole sixth sense thing that Hill kept mentioning?
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other level.
I gotta admit, this is the part where I'm like, hold on, are we getting a little too,
Woo-woo.
yeah, a little woo-woo. But hey, I'm always open to exploring new possibilities, so hit me with it. What exactly is this sixth sense that Hill's so jazzed about?
Well, imagine a sense beyond your 5 senses. It's that gut feeling, those flashes of insight, that deep inner knowing. Hill believed this sixth sense is our connection to infinite intelligence, a source of unlimited wisdom and creativity.
Okay, so it's not like I'm gonna suddenly develop superpowers,
Not that I know of.
but it's about tapping into our intuition,
There you go.
that inner voice we often ignore.
Which is a shame because it's usually right. He even developed a technique for this, for accessing this sixth sense, called it invisible counsel.
Invisible counsel. So like having a board meeting with ghosts.
Kind of. Hill would visualize a council of his personal heroes,
Like a dream team of mentors, but, dead.
people he admired for their wisdom, their achievements, both living and, some who'd passed on.
Wow, and he'd have conversations with them in his head.
You'd seek their advice, guidance on important matters, tapped into their collective
I
wisdom.
don't know, sounds kind of out there.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it, cultivate their sixth sense. You just have to practice. Align your thoughts, your beliefs with the principles of success.
Okay, but this is where some folks might say, hold on, does this stuff really work, like in the real world?
And Hill, he gets that. He understood not everyone buys into the whole mystical powers of the mind thing. He always emphasized, think and grow rich. It's not about blind faith. It's about taking action.
Okay, so less woo-woo, more do the work. Got it. But how do we take all this, and I'll admit it's a lot to take in, how do we actually apply it to our lives?
Now, Hill was big on practical exercises. He gives you a ton in the book. But one of the most powerful, it's right at the beginning, he calls it the definiteness of purpose statement.
Okay, break that down for me.
It's about getting crystal clear on what you want. Not just a vague idea, I'm talking details. Write it down and commit to taking action.
So not just a wish list, but a this is what I want and I'm going to make it happen list.
Exactly. And writing it down,
Crucial.
like sending a direct message to your subconscious, programming it for success.
Got it. No more just thinking about it. Time to put pen to paper. Make it real.
And here's the kicker. You have to read this statement every single day and not just mumble it to yourself with emotion, with conviction, as if you've already achieved it.
I love that. Like giving yourself a daily dose of inspiration. It reminds me of affirmations, you know? You keep feeding your mind those positive statements, and it's like you rewire those thinking patterns.
There you go. See, you're getting it. And I know we've been talking about all the things we can achieve, but there's a big misconception I hear all the time about think and grow rich. People think it's just about raking in the dough, getting rich. But Hill makes it clear his philosophy applies to everything.
So it's not just about the money, money, money.
It's about applying these principles to whatever it is you truly desire.
Okay, now we're talking. I like the sound of that. Because let's face it, you can't just wish for a better relationship or a healthier body, right? You got to put in the work.
100%. It's about taking all this incredible wisdom and actually using it. To improve your finances, sure, but also to find love, to master a new skill, or just live a more fulfilling life.
It's about aligning your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions with your own definition of success, whatever that looks like for you.
And that's what makes Think and Grow Rich so powerful. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a blueprint for personal growth, for achievement that goes beyond just money.
It's about recognizing the potential, and this is the exciting part, the potential that we all have within us, and understanding that we have the power to create the life we desire.
We are not just passengers on this ride. We are the drivers. And that brings us back to that story, you know, the one about the old doctor and that enchanted kettle?
Oh, yeah, the kettle that could do, what was it again?
It's a reminder that sometimes the most ordinary objects, even a beat-up old kettle, they can lead to extraordinary results. But only if we approach them with the right mindset.
So it's not about waiting for some magical kettle to fall into our laps.
It's about looking beyond the surface, seeing the potential where others see limitations, and then having the guts to take action.
That's it right there. The courage to act. Because we can have all the knowledge, all the faith in the world, but if we don't actually do something with it,
It's all for nothing.
so go out there, folks. Find your burning desire, build your mastermind, tap into that sixth sense, and who knows what you'll achieve.
And remember, this is just the beginning.
Oh, yeah. This is just a taste, a little amuse-bouche of Think and Grow Rich to whet your appetite.
Go back, revisit those pages, let the wisdom sink in, but most importantly, take action. Because who knows what incredible adventures await you on the other side of your comfort zone.
And on that note, until next time, keep thinking big and keep growing.
We'll be here cheering you on every step of the way.